Hey everybody, my name is Sydney and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, like I said, my name is Sydney. I am a 30-year-old Canadian content creator and I just had my little girl back in February. Now, if you're a returning subscriber, you would know that I was supposed to have my little girl in April. However, life happened. I got diagnosed with preeclampsia at my 32nd week of gestation, and I was stuck in the hospital until she was born. So this is going to be my birth story. It is kind of traumatic and it can be triggering for others. So if this is triggering for you, if preeclampsia or a NICU stay or a preemie, if any of that is too triggering for you, this is your warning. This is not the video for you. If you're interested in what I went through and how my baby's doing now, then definitely stick around and let's just get started. So like I said, I am from Canada, and at the 30-week mark of being pregnant, you usually go in and have a meeting with your OB, and she will either give you an ultrasound or you have to go get an ultrasound and then you go back to her or him after and they go over the ultrasound. So with my OB, that's exactly what happened. I had a ultrasound booked and then I had a meeting with my OB within an hour after that. So we went, the ultrasound was fine, little girl was hiding her face, but that was pretty normal. And then when we went to the ultrasound, they told me that she was pretty small for her gestational age and that they were going to send me to another ultrasound that was more extensive at the hospital, and then they would go from there, talking about this will just give us a way to see if she's on her own little curve, like growth wise, so they know what to expect moving forward before I give birth. So what happened was, the hospital that I was supposed to go get the ultrasound done, they kept calling me, but my phone would only ring like for 2 rings, and I was at work and I was in a shop, so I had really bad service, so I could never get to the phone in time, and nobody ever gave me a phone number to contact them to book the appointment. So I missed like 3 or 4 calls to book the appointment, and then finally my mom told me the specific number for the hospital that I should call and just asked to be redirected because she used to work at that specific hospital. So I did that. I got my appointment booked. Everything was good. And so that was around 30, that was week 30 where we had the first ultrasound. At a week 31, I kept missing the phone call and nobody would leave a voicemail. So I was unable, like I said, to call back. And then week 32 hit, I was able to get an appointment. So I was very fortunate that I had asked my mom to go with me. So we went to the appointment. At the appointment, they said that she's developed where she needs to be, but she's very, very tiny. So they immediately sent me to the hospital where I would be giving birth, and I had to go to the emergency triage, and then they would look at me from there. So I'm in the hospital, I'm freaking out, like so worried about my baby, and that was stressful. And then we had to call my husband, who was at home because he was working from home and couldn't go to this appointment. So we had to call him, basically tell him, yeah, we have to go to the hospital because she's not growing, like she's not the correct size, she's way too tiny. So that was really, really stressful. I'm bawling my eyes out, understandably. We get to the hospital and we go into the triage, and they have me put on the like the monitoring things around your belly. So basically they like strap 2 little like ultrasound machines to your body, and they're listening for baby, and they're looking for my blood pressure, because I don't know why, but they were just, I guess they do that for everybody. They were monitoring the blood pressure, and my blood pressure was through the roof. Now, I had no issues with blood pressure. I had no preeclampsia symptoms up until this ultrasound where she was too tiny, and we went to the emergency, and we went to the labor ward where I was going to be giving birth. So I'm basically in triage now. My my blood pressure was again through the roof, so they knew I had preeclampsia, and they couldn't get accurate measurements for her because she was so tiny. So basically what ended up happening is they told me that I have preeclampsia, I have IGUR, which basically means she's not growing because the placenta stopped growing at some point. So she wasn't getting all the nutrients that she needed. So fast forward, they basically tell me that I'm staying in the hospital until I give birth, and I will be giving birth at some point within the next 2 weeks, and that she's going to be a preemie. So that freaks me out. I'm stuck in a hospital, and yeah, it was really, really not fun. I don't wish it on my worst enemy. I'm literally sitting here. They sent my mom and my husband home. So they sent my mom home. They sent my husband back to the house to get stuff for me because I was going to be in there in the hospital for the foreseeable future to go get like all of my stuff. And I'm just sitting in the room freaking out, strapped to all these machines. And all of a sudden there's this woman screaming. So where was I? Yeah. What? There we go. So where was I? Oh yeah, I was stuck in triage because they didn't know where to put me. They didn't know if I was going to have to go to the labor and delivery ward because I was going to be induced right away, or if I was going to be staying in the hospital until they figured everything out. So in the meantime, I'm there alone, freaking out. My husband was gone home to get my stuff, and I hear a code and a woman screaming outside of my door because her umbilical cord had fallen out of the cervix and she got rushed to the emergency surgery. So that was terrifying. And then like my blood pressure didn't go down. So they admitted me to the, I wasn't being induced, but I was the ward where I'd have to stay in the hospital. So it's like, I guess it's the mommy and baby ward where you would go post delivery. So I'm 33, no, at this time I'm 32 weeks. She's very tiny. I don't look pregnant, yet I'm in this ward with a bunch of people who are pregnant or who've given birth and had their babies in the room. And I knew because my OB had told me, and then the high risk OB came in and told me that no matter what, she would have to go into the NICU because she's so tiny. So that was heartbreaking. It was terrible. I was stuck in the mommy baby ward for, I think it was 11 days before she was delivered. That was stressful. I got moved around to 3 different wards. And then the nurses, so this was like, I only dealt with the high risk nurses because I was a high risk pregnancy. So the nurses, because she was so tiny and she would hide from like the monitors, so they would hardly ever get any good like ultrasounds or it's called a stress test. So basically I had to do a stress test twice a day, and I was on the stress, like it was only supposed to be a 20-minute stress test. I was stuck in the straps or whatever it was for like over an hour every time. Because she's small, she wasn't moving enough for the monitor to pick it up. So that was a nightmare and very, very stressful because, as you can imagine, you're strapped in, you can't go anywhere, you're freaking out, you're hoping that your daughter is okay. So all of that happened. They were going to induce me. They gave me the option to do a vaginal delivery, but they had told me that the risks are a lot higher because she's so tiny, they can't monitor her heart rate. So if anything bad happens, it's very difficult for them to know. I didn't even let them finish. I'm like, no, we're just gonna do the C-section. That way it was scheduled. I knew exactly what was happening. She would be okay. Everything was good. So on the Monday, the high risk doctor came in and told me that I was going to be delivering on the Friday. So I was 33 weeks and 5 days when she came. They gave me the shots in my butt for 48 hours to make sure that her lungs grew like, I guess the shots make it so that their lungs develop an extra gestational week. So on April 21st at 11:51, I think, 51, my daughter was born. They gave me the magnesium drip beforehand, and that stopped any contractions that I could have been having. And it gave an extra dose of medicine to her brain to make sure that she was okay to be delivered. So they did that, and then I went into the operating room. That was the most nerve-wracking thing imaginable. You're basically just sitting there awake, and there's all these nurses going like scalpel, and like making sure they have all this material. So I understandably am freaking out. I'm crying. The high risk OB who I'd been dealing with the entire time, she was an absolute angel. She kept telling me, she's like, your daughter is fine. She's tiny, but she's totally fine and she's totally developed. So she wasn't freaking out. So that gave me some comfort, and then I was able to kind of like breathe. They gave me the epidural and I lay down on the table. They finally let my husband in, and I had already told my husband, as soon as our daughter is delivered, you need to go to her. Like, I'm fine. I have the nurses. I have everybody. You go to her and make sure that she's okay. She was delivered, and they surprisingly were able to do the delayed cord clamping. They didn't know if they were going to be able to, just because they didn't know what was going to happen once she was delivered. But yeah, no, they were able to do the delayed cord clamping, which was amazing. I was so happy. I didn't get to hold her. I didn't really get to see her. She immediately, when she was delivered, she was squawking, which was, again, what you want to hear, and it was amazing. And she immediately got taken by the NICU team to do the tests and make sure she was okay. My husband did exactly what I wanted and immediately went with her to make sure that everything was okay. And then he came back, and she came back, one of the NICU nurses came back and told us she was 2 pounds, 14 ounces. She was breathing on her own. There was no resuscitation. There was no any extra things after birth that they needed to implement. Like, there was no oxygen. There was nothing. Somehow she was just amazing and breathing and doing everything on her own, even by being so tiny. Yet she came out 2 pounds, 14 ounces, and then her NICU stay started. So basically what the NICU team told me was that, yeah, she was fully developed. Her only problem was she was very, very tiny. Like I've said multiple times, she was 2 pounds, 14 ounces when she was delivered. So she needed to be in the NICU until she got to be about 4 pounds. So she was in the NICU at 3 different hospitals so the first hospital where we delivered, it's right by the children's hospital, and it's like the high risk hospital. So she was there for 5 days, and she wasn't a high risk. Like I said, she just needed to gain weight and there were no other complications. So then she got moved to a special care nursery, and that special care nursery, same thing. She was there for about 5 days. They didn't need her, like she didn't need the care that they were providing because she wasn't high risk. She just needed to gain weight. So she got moved to the one that was close, like the hospital or the special care nursery that was closest to us. And she was there for, I think, another 7 days, 8 days. And then we were able to take her home when she hit 4 pounds. This was all in the span of end of February. So I entered into the hospital February 11th, and she was delivered February 21st. And then I got discharged February 23rd, and she got discharged from the hospital March something. I don't know. It's all been a blur. So the past few months, we've just been caring for a preemie. She is officially, She's officially considered a newborn. She's almost 3 months gestationally, but her adjusted age is, I think she's a month and 2 weeks old. She's currently almost 8 pounds, if not, she is 8 pounds, and she's doing amazing. She has so much personality. She's, oh my gosh, she's our little warrior. She's our fighter. Anytime they tried to put tubes in, like oxygen, she'd rip them out immediately. She ripped out an IV because she didn't want the IV. She didn't need it. She just like knew in her heart of hearts that she didn't need any of that. So the only thing that she had for the entire time she was in the NICU / special care nursery was the feeding tube, because she was so young. And then as soon as she was able to eat on her own and she hit the 4-pound mark, they sent her home with us, and she's been with us ever since. And yeah, that's basically my birth story, flash forwarded super, super fast. There were some great times, some not so great times, and I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. So yeah, that is how our daughter came to be. She's here, she's doing amazing. We don't have a routine now because, like I said, her adjusted age, she's about a month and a half right now. And if you don't know what an adjusted age is, it's basically if you have a preemie baby. So she was born 33 weeks, 5 days. So that's her gestational age, but they don't start counting her like developmental age until her actual due date, because all the time before that due date is basically she still needs to be growing, and you're not focusing on anything else except getting her well and getting her okay. So she's technically 2.5, almost 3 months now, but developmentally, and what I go by and what the doctors go by, is she's a month and a half from her due date. So she's doing amazing. She's really, really strong. She is such a fighter. I can't believe, just from what the OB was saying, was that everything, sorry, I get emotional. Somehow, I don't know how, my daughter is a miracle and she is such a fighter, but the high-risk OB told me that everything that the placenta was giving her, she would send directly to her brain. That way she was fully developed by the time we found out that I had pre-eclampsia. So she was totally, completely, everything was fully developed. She was just really, really tiny. So that was her biggest hurdle. And I don't even know how. Like, it's a miracle. She's so strong. Like, I look at her every day and I'm just like, you're my little miracle. I don't know how you did it, but she did it, and she's here. And yeah, like, I love her so much. A fun little tidbit about all of this is she was actually born the day before her baby shower was due. So she was born on the Friday. The baby shower for her was supposed to be on the Saturday. So when she finally came home, we didn't have half the stuff that we needed. So my mom, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-laws, they've been amazing. They literally just gave us all of their baby shower gifts early, so we had stuff. And we have her actual baby shower coming up at the end of the month. So I'll film that so that way we can all be involved. And I actually kind of love it how it turned out to be. She really didn't want to miss the baby shower, so she came early, and now she gets to be at her own baby shower, which I think is friggin' amazing. And yeah, so that is, yeah, like, I don't know what else to say. So if you have any questions, leave them down below, because I know I just went all over the place and it's a total mismatch, and I don't know what I said half the time. Stick around, there's gonna be a lot more fun and exciting videos coming up, and I'm gonna end the video now because I'm literally rambling at this point and I have nothing else to say. So, okay, see you in the next one. Bye.